Under old business, excuse me, I have the skateboard park donation. At a council meeting earlier this year, the rec board had requested that they be allowed to donate $500 from their budget towards the skateboard park to be built in Newtown Township. And there was some conversation, I would guess, emails going around over this past week because the skateboard park donations were being sent to the Newtown Corporation, and there was concern expressed by council regarding the appropriateness of doing that. And finally, after all this discussion that went around, it was determined that we can, in fact, make our donation directly to Newtown Township, earmarked to the skateboard park. Am I correct?
That's correct. The Newtown Corporation was designated as the recipient of the skateboard park donations because of its present 501c3 status. Donations made to the Newtown Corporation may be tax deductible. From our standpoint, for the borough donation, of course, the tax deductibility doesn't matter. And we got an email response from the president of the Township Board of Supervisors saying it would be fine just to make our donation directly to Newtown Township. Also, in connection with the skateboard park, Joy had asked that I contact the Newtown Corporation to ask for a list of the donations made to date, whether or not the money is being held in a segregated account. And that list was provided by part of it by the corporation and part by Mike Iapolucci, who is the chairman of the Newtown Skate Park Committee. I didn't distribute it. They asked that we keep it confidential. I have it if anyone cares to look at it, but they do seem to have an itemized list. I also spoke today with Bob Small at Robert Small Associates. They're doing some accounting work for the corporation, and I asked Bob whether they have any control over the account, and he said no, they reconcile each month, but they are not handling the deposits and payments out for whatever that information's worth. I thought it worth asking, but they are reconciling the account.
Okay, so we have already authorized this donation for the skateboard park. I don't know that we need a separate motion to authorize Pat to cut the check to the township. Okay.
So the real question is, how much does the township have to go towards the skate park, and when is it going to get built?
Well, there are $4,275 in donations received already, and another $12,000 in donations pledged, which Mike Iapolucci characterized as account receivables. We've read about some of them in the newspapers, so I think he's counting on that. So that would bring them to about 16,000, and I think that the township, 4 to 1?
4 to 1. They're well on their way to.
Does sound like it, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, the reality is that we've had to put out 2 requests for bids for the concrete paving for the pad for the skate park. The second bid was even higher than the first set of bids, so we're going to put it out for a third bid, and it's becoming rather problematic as far as where we're going with that, but that's where it stands as of last week. So if we get the proper bids, we will go forward. If the bids are outrageous, we may not. We may have to wait and take a look for something, some other location.
So what is the status of the monies raised if you decide not to go ahead with it?
Well, if we don't go through with it, obviously there would be an obligation of our holding the funds to return it to the donors. But we haven't gone that far. We're not nearly in that position yet. We want to put out another request for bid and see what happens.
Thank you. Do we still want to make this donation? Okay, we'll earmark the check. We'll watch it. Okay. Any other old business?
Julia, we're doing checks tomorrow, so I should have Pat cut it.
Yeah, to the township. Okay.
I had one real brief, I guess it's old business only because it was talked about earlier in the context of the petition I haven't seen, but with the 100 names about safety. And Dennis, I was looking at the monthly report, and I know I haven't asked for a couple months about pedestrian safety citations being issued, but I'm just looking at the statistics we have for this past month, and it's kind of clipped off on the one column on the left, so it's a little tough to read. But am I seeing 3? Or is that year to date? Okay. And not to put you on the spot, but and I know we've talked about this before, but you know, pedestrian safety has a component which is generally accepted to include enforcement, and this is more, I guess, for the police committee, but to maybe look once again this idea of continuing on an annual basis, you know, every week, every month, to have some component of an enforcement program. You know, citations have a way of making the point, word gets around. If you go through Newtown Borough on State Street or Washington particularly, and know you're going to get a ticket, I think it's much more likely you're going to slow down and let that person or persons waiting to cross, let them cross. Now in Washington, when I walked here tonight, I actually had cars stop for me. I think it was because he didn't want to hit a guy in a suit. Maybe, maybe not, but you know, I could have stood there for 10 minutes or more just waiting. So I think this enforcement component is something we've got to revisit. As I say, it has a function, it has a purpose, and personally I'd like to see some more numbers in there. I know the police department has a lot of things to do, but I think that should be given some priority. That's all.
Any other old business? Any new business?
I guess, Julie, will you be addressing the letter we got from Judge Nashorn? Did you see that?
Oh, right, yes, we did receive a letter from, I should have included that in the correspondence. I did receive a letter from Judge Nashorn, and I have a copy, asking us for any information that would be pertinent to his response to the census. I believe he has to respond to any changes in judicial needs based on the census, so we'll be looking at that. Did you all get copies of that letter? Yeah. If you have any comments that you want me to share, please send them to me. There was one item that actually I meant to address at an earlier meeting, but was highlighted by our issue with the ramps on State Street, and that is that we don't have an identified liaison to the sewer authority or to the water company. And we have seen over the past couple years the problems with paving when we've paved a street and one or the other of them has dug it up right afterwards or whatever, that there is the lack of communication and the lack of knowing what from their knowing what our projects are and for us knowing what their projects are. So I've asked Mike if he would be willing to serve as liaison to these two agencies and to keep the borough informed and to keep them informed of projects that would have mutual concern. So, Mike, if you're still willing to serve in that capacity, appreciate it.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I'm hoping that going forward that this will help avoid such issues such as the ramp issue that we have on State Street right now. Any other new business?